The topic today is, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? The formula for a great marriage. The key formula to having a great marriage, a great relationship, you must put your spouse as your first priority in life. It comes before yourself, your children, your parents, and your siblings. And this could be terrifying. This could be terrifying to people. And of course, it's best if it's reciprocal, because some people it could be dangerous because you give an inch, they take a mile. Some people you give an inch and they give a mile. So the healthiest situation is when you're putting your spouse before yourself in all ways. And to achieve that, for some people, it comes more naturally. Some people are just less self-centered and less selfish, and it's more readily available for them. For some people, like myself, it just takes more work. It's possible that as males we may have more of an issue with that. That's my hypothesis. I don't have scientific data on that. But it's something that can be done to place the other, or at least as a direction, an aspiration to go to placing your spouse before yourself and before everything on this earth. Now, for those who have a belief in God, such as myself, I would put the will of God as my first priority, but on earth, my wife's well-being and reality is my first priority, then my children, my loved ones, and humanity, in that order. Now, in doing this, it often doesn't come that naturally, and so it requires the power thought system. It's one thing to say, I want to place my wife as my first priority. I'll place my spouse as my first priority. I'll place my husband as my first priority. I'll place my wife as my first priority. I'll place my boyfriend as my first priority. My girlfriend as my first priority. I'm going to place my fiancé as my first priority. Whatever the relationship is, that's your primary relationship, the most intimate relationship. Now, in Dr. Nerenberg's mind-body workout system, I've discovered 23 variables that facilitate internalizing and empowering a thought within ourselves. One has to do repetition. And generally I recommend every 5 minutes the first day and twice an hour thereafter. So repetition is one. So this one would be, in my case, my wife is my first priority. For you, it could be your husband, boyfriend, whatever. For me, it's my wife is my first priority. Now, we can do what I would call an expander. My wife is my first priority always, so it expands the time frame. Always is an expander. My wife is my first priority, and I'm grateful. Grateful is a solidifier, one of the 23 factors. We can add an amplifier. My wife is my first priority always, and I'm extremely grateful. Extremely amplifies the solidifier. We can add a spiritualizer. My wife is my first priority always. I'm extremely grateful. Thank you, Lord. So that's a spiritualizer for those who have a belief in a higher power. My wife is my first priority always. I'm extremely grateful. Thank you, Lord. So you've seen something. Now we could take a focuser where we close the eyes and listen to your own voice. So my wife is my first priority always. I'm extremely grateful. Thank you, Lord. My wife is my first priority always. I'm extremely grateful. Thank you, Lord. So I'm listening to myself. Then you could also add proprioceptive or muscle involvement. So pressing my arms together. My wife is my first priority always. I'm extremely grateful. Thank you, Lord. My wife is my first priority. I'm extremely grateful. Thank you, Lord. So I'm pressing my arms together, involving the proprioceptive involvement. You can use a relaxer, which is very good, where you take a deep breath, relax yourself, and focus on someone. Take a deep breath. My wife is my first priority always. I'm extremely grateful. Thank you so much, Lord. My wife is my first priority always. I'm extremely grateful. Thank you, Lord. My wife is my first priority always. I'm extremely grateful. Thank you, Lord. The deep breathing facilitates the internalization. It's also very healthy. Most of us don't get enough water or enough oxygen. So most of us need to drink more water. We need to breathe more.